Hi dear, welcome to Trader's Mind Code, Trading Discipline, The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas. Introduction. Why discipline is the trader's edge. When most people think of trading, they think of strategy, charts, indicators, timing entries and exits, maybe even a bit of luck. But the truth is, strategy alone is not what separates the successful traders from the unsuccessful ones. In fact, you can give two traders the exact same strategy, and their results will likely be completely different. Why? Because trading isn't just a game of skill or knowledge. It's a game of mindset. And the cornerstone of that mindset is discipline. Discipline is what bridges the gap between your trading plan and your trading behavior. It's the ability to follow your rules when everything in your body wants to panic, to hold your position when fear creeps in, and to walk away when greed is screaming in your ear. Mark Douglas, in his groundbreaking work The Disciplined Trader, illuminated a truth that most traders never fully accept. Trading success is 80% psychological and only 20% mechanical. That statement alone has the power to change everything. Because once you realize that your greatest obstacle in trading isn't the market, it's you, then you gain the power to do something about it. The undisciplined trader reacts. The disciplined trader responds. The undisciplined trader sees losses as personal failures. The disciplined trader sees them as part of the game. One is constantly caught in an emotional loop of fear and hope. The other has found a sense of inner calm, regardless of the market's chaos. Why is discipline the trader's edge? Because markets are unpredictable. You cannot control the news. You cannot control other traders. You cannot control price. But what you can control is how you respond. And that response, steady, consistent, grounded in a proven process, is what creates long-term success. Think about it this way. Anyone can win a few trades, but only a disciplined trader can win over the long run. Only discipline will keep you from overtrading after a winning streak. Only discipline will keep you from revenge trading after a loss. Only discipline will give you the clarity to follow your system, even when your emotions try to hijack your judgment. This book is not just about theory. It's about transformation. We're going to dive deep into the mental and emotional challenges that every trader faces. We'll explore how beliefs shape behavior, how fear distorts perception, and how building discipline can unlock consistency, confidence, and freedom in your trading journey. By the end of this journey, you will not only understand why discipline is essential, you will know how to build it, step by step. This isn't just a book. It's a mental blueprint, a guide to mastering yourself, so you can master the market. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Real Game. Trading versus Gambling. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Most traders, whether they realize it or not, are gambling. They're not approaching the markets with discipline, structure, or a repeatable edge. Instead, they're chasing feelings, excitement, hope, revenge, even boredom relief. They're placing trades not based on logic, but on emotion. The question we must ask right now is this: are you trading or are you gambling? On the surface, trading and gambling can look very similar. Both involve risk. Both can lead to big wins or big losses. Both can trigger adrenaline and anxiety. But beneath the surface, they are fundamentally different games. The gambler's mindset. The gambler enters the market with one goal: to win. They often have no defined process, no clear strategy, and no risk control. Instead, they rely on luck, gut feelings, or tips from strangers on the internet. They think, if I can just get this one trade right, I'll make it all back. This one feels like a sure thing. I lost last time, so I'm due for a win. These are not thoughts based on logic or strategy. They're rooted in hope, emotion, and fantasy. And over time, this mindset leads to chaos, blown accounts, broken confidence, and a constant cycle of boom and bust. The trader's mindset now contrasts that with the disciplined trader. The disciplined trader treats trading like a business. They know their edge. They follow a plan. They've accepted that losses are a part of the process, not a personal failure. Every trade is just one in a series of many, guided by probabilities, not feelings. They think, this trade has a statistical edge. I'll execute it without emotional attachment. My job is not to predict the market. It's to follow my system. I accept the risk before I enter. That's what gives me power. The disciplined trader doesn't need every trade to win. They don't chase losses. They don't celebrate wins with overconfidence. They stay grounded, focused, and consistent. Over time, this mindset builds stability, confidence, and long-term growth. The illusion of control. Gambling traders often fall into the trap of thinking they can outsmart the market. They believe they see patterns others don't. But in truth, they're often just reacting to randomness, mistaking luck for skill. Mark Douglas made a powerful observation. The market doesn't care who you are. It doesn't know you exist. And that's liberating, because once you let go of the need to control the market, you can focus on what you can control: your behavior, your mindset, your discipline. The role of probability. One of the defining traits of a professional trader is the ability to think in probabilities. A gambler thinks in absolutes. This trade will win or lose. A trader thinks in terms of risk and reward. This trade has a 60% chance of success, and I've positioned my size accordingly. This shift in thinking is subtle but profound. It moves you from emotional reactivity to rational decision-making. And that's where your edge begins. Why discipline changes the game. Without discipline, trading becomes gambling. It becomes a roller coaster of highs and lows, fueled by emotions and guesswork. But with discipline, trading becomes a game of controlled risk, a process of stacking small edges over time. Discipline is what keeps you in the game long enough to learn, grow, and evolve. It's what stops you from blowing up your account when emotions run high. It's what brings you back to center after a tough loss or a lucky win. Short. Discipline is what transforms gambling into trading. Ask yourself honestly, are you following a defined, tested strategy with clear risk parameters? Or are you reacting, guessing, and hoping things work out? Do you take full responsibility for every trade outcome? Or do you blame the market, the news, or someone else? If your answers lean toward the latter, don't worry. That's where most traders start. But if you want to succeed long-term, the journey begins with a shift from gambling habits to trader discipline. In the chapters that follow, we'll explore the mental and emotional forces that drive your behavior in the market and how you can master them. We'll dive deep into fear, overconfidence, belief systems, and the practical tools to develop unshakable trading discipline, because trading is not a game of chance. It's a game of self-mastery. And now, you've taken your first step. Chapter 2. The Hidden Enemy, You versus Your Mind. In trading, most people are looking for something outside of themselves to conquer. They think if they can just crack the code, find the perfect strategy, predict the next move, or get ahead of the news, they'll finally become successful. But here's the reality. Your biggest battle isn't with the market. It's with yourself. Yes, the charts move. Yes, prices fluctuate. But the real volatility, the real storm, happens inside your mind. The moment you put your money into a trade, you enter a psychological battlefield. Fear, greed, doubt, excitement. All these emotions flood your thinking. And unless you're prepared, they'll control your actions and destroy your discipline. Mark Douglas said it best. The market is a mirror, reflecting back everything you believe about money, risk, and yourself. It doesn't reward intelligence. It doesn't reward talent. It rewards consistency. And consistency can only come from mastering your mind. The two selves, rational versus emotional. Inside every trader are two forces battling for control. First, there's the rational self. This part of you knows your strategy. It understands risk. It respects probabilities. It wants to follow the plan, manage position sizes, and make long-term decisions based on logic. Then there's the emotional self. This part acts from instinct. It hates uncertainty. It craves quick wins. It fears losses and feels pain when trades go against you. It wants to act now, to fix, to chase, to make back what was lost in the heat of the moment. When you're watching a trade go against you or seeing a candle shoot straight up, your emotional self tries to take over. And if you haven't built the discipline to recognize and resist that urge, you'll follow it right into impulsive, destructive decisions that you'll move your stop. You'll over-leverage. You'll abandon your plan. You'll lose control, not because the market fooled you, but because you fooled yourself. The mind's natural resistance to uncertainty. Your brain was never designed for trading. It was designed for survival. When early humans sensed danger, their brains triggered fight or flight responses. That was useful in the wild. But in the markets, it can be deadly. Think about it. When you're in a trade and you feel uncertain, your brain wants to eliminate that discomfort. It doesn't care about your strategy. It just wants relief. That's why traders so often exit too early when a trade is going well, or hold on too long when it's going poorly if they're not trading the market. They're trading their need to feel safe. This is why emotional control is the real challenge. Not because the emotions themselves are bad, but because acting on them leads to inconsistent behavior. And inconsistency kills performance. The myth of control, one of the most dangerous beliefs in trading, is the illusion that you can control outcomes. You can't. You can't control what the market will do. You can't force a trade to work. You can't will a candle to move in your favor. What you can control is your process, your preparation, your mindset, and that's where true power comes from. When you stop trying to control the market and start focusing on mastering yourself, everything changes. You start thinking in terms of probabilities, not certainties. You start managing risk, not chasing rewards. You start executing your plan, not your emotions. The hidden beliefs that sabotage you. Every trader carries unconscious beliefs about money, failure, success, and risk. Many of these were formed long before you ever opened a chart. They come from childhood, from cultural ideas, from past experiences. Beliefs like, losing money is bad. I need to be right to succeed. I can't afford to fail. One big win will fix everything. These beliefs operate in the background, shaping your behavior without you realizing it. And until you bring them into awareness, they will keep sabotaging your results. Mark Douglas emphasized this in The Disciplined Trader. Our trading results are a reflection of our self-image and internal belief system. If you believe you don't deserve success, you'll find ways to lose it. If you believe losses are shameful, you'll avoid them and break rules to do it. If you believe you have to win every time, you'll crumble under pressure. To become a disciplined trader, you must uncover these hidden beliefs and replace them with ones that support consistent, professional behavior. Your mind can be trained. The good news is, you are not your thoughts, and you are not your emotions. You are the one who observes them. And that means you can train your mind. Through awareness, repetition, and structure, you can build new habits. You can reframe your relationship with risk. You can learn to respond instead of react. You can condition your mind to think in probabilities, to accept uncertainty, and to stay centered under pressure. This is the real edge, not a secret indicator, not a hot tip, not a perfect entry signal. The real edge is emotional mastery. From enemy to ally. In the end, your mind doesn't have to be your enemy. It can become your ally, but only if you train it. Only if you accept that the biggest challenge in trading is not the market, it's you. And the greatest victory is not a single winning trade. It's mastering the part of yourself that used to sabotage your success. Once you've done that, the market no longer intimidates you. You no longer need to chase. You no longer need to prove anything. You simply execute your plan, trust your system, and let the probabilities play out. That is the mindset of the disciplined trader. Chapter 3. Breaking the cycle of emotional trading. There's a moment every trader knows too well. You enter a trade with confidence. You've done your analysis, set your levels, and told yourself you'll stay disciplined. But then, price moves against you. Your heart rate rises. Doubt creeps in. You move your stop. Then you move it again. Before you know it, you're holding on to a losing position, praying it turns around, or maybe the opposite happens. You're in profit, things are going well, but you close the trade early, afraid it might reverse. You lock in a small win. Then watch as the trade runs exactly as you first expected. Frustration, regret, self-criticism. And then, you do it again the next day. This is the emotional cycle that traps so many traders. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they haven't learned how to regulate their emotions in a high-stakes environment. And until they break that cycle, no strategy, no matter how powerful, will work consistently. Why emotions hijack good traders? Let's be clear. Emotions are not the enemy. They're part of being human. But when you let them dictate your trading decisions, they become extremely dangerous. Here's why. The brain is wired to avoid pain and seek pleasure. In trading, pain often comes in the form of financial loss, and pleasure comes with profit. But because the market is full of uncertainty, every trade becomes emotionally charged. You want to win. You fear losing. You crave validation. You fear being wrong. These emotional triggers cause traders to enter early out of fear of missing out, exit too soon to protect small profits, hold on to losers hoping they'll turn around, revenge trade to recover losses, abandon their plan in the heat of the moment. And the worst part? These actions feel right in the moment. That's the trap. Your emotions don't care about logic. They care about immediate relief. The emotional loop most traders get stuck in a repeating loop. It looks like this. Hope, a new trade begins. You're optimistic and excited. Fear, the trade moves against you. Doubt sets in. Panic, you change your plan mid-trade. Emotions take over. Relief or regret, the trade ends. You either exit emotionally or watch a good setup fail due to poor execution. Self-criticism, you beat yourself up for not following your rules. Determination, you promise to do better next time. Repeat sound familiar. Breaking this loop is not about forcing yourself to feel nothing. It's about building awareness, structure, and tools that let you act with intention despite the emotions you feel. How to break the cycle 1. Start with awareness. The first step is to notice when emotion is influencing your decisions. Are you clicking buy because your system told you to, or because you're afraid of missing out? Are you closing a trade because your stop was hit, or because you can't stand the discomfort? The more aware you are of your emotional patterns, the more power you have to interrupt them. Keep a journal. Track not just your trades, but how you felt during each one. You'll begin to see patterns, specific moments when emotion creeps in. And once you see it, you can start to change it. Point 2. Build a rules-based system. Discipline doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from having a structure. That structure is a rules-based trading plan. It defines when to enter, when to exit, how much to risk, what market conditions to trade, and how many trades to take per day or week. With clear rules, you don't have to make emotional decisions in the heat of the moment. You simply follow the plan. Rules create boundaries, and boundaries protect you from yourself. Point 3. Accept the risk before you enter. This may be the most powerful concept from Mark Douglas. You must accept the risk completely before you enter a trade. If you're emotionally attached to the outcome, you haven't accepted the risk. That attachment creates fear. Fear leads to poor decisions. But when you accept that a trade might lose, and that's okay, you remove the emotional charge. You shift from hoping the trade will work to simply executing the process. Before every trade, ask yourself, if this trade loses, can I walk away without emotional disturbance? If the answer is no, you're not ready to take it. Point 4. Use position sizing to control emotion. Traders often say they follow their rules in a demo account, but break them when real money is involved. Why? Because now there's emotion. The easiest way to reduce that emotional charge is to lower your position size. When you risk too much, every tick feels like a threat. But when your position size is well within your risk tolerance, it becomes easier to stick to your rules because you're no longer operating in survival mode. Consistent trading comes from calm decisions, and calm decisions come from manageable risk. Point 5. Practice mindfulness and emotional regulation. Trading is a performance activity, like sports or music. Professionals in those fields train their mental state just as much as their skills. You should do the same. Practice mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing, visualization, anything that helps you stay centered in the present moment rather than being hijacked by emotion. Over time, you'll build emotional resilience. You'll stop reacting to the market and start responding to it with clarity and control. The trader's transformation. Breaking the emotional trading cycle isn't a one-time fix. It's a journey, a transformation, and it starts by facing the truth. You are not losing because your strategy is wrong. You are losing because you are not following it with discipline, and the only way to change that is from the inside out. You must learn to recognize your emotional triggers. You must create a plan that protects you from impulsive actions. You must train your mind to tolerate uncertainty and loss. This is not easy work, but it is the most important work, because once you break the cycle of emotional trading, you unlock a level of clarity, consistency, and confidence that most traders never experience. You stop gambling. You stop chasing. You stop fearing. You become the calm in the storm, the steady hand in chaos, the disciplined trader. And that is when everything begins to change. Chapter 4. The 4 fears that kill profits. Every trader enters the market with one goal: to make money. But what most don't realize is that they also bring something else with them, something invisible, yet incredibly powerful. That something is fear. Fear is the silent force that drives most of your worst trading decisions. It clouds your thinking. It short-circuits your discipline. And if left unchecked, it will slowly but surely erode your profits. Mark Douglas identified fear as the primary barrier between you and consistent success. Not the market, not your broker, not even your strategy. Fear is the real enemy. And the truth is, it's not just one fear. It's four that each of these fears plays a unique role in sabotaging your trading. Together, they form the emotional web that traps you in inconsistency. Let's explore them one by one and learn how to break free. Point 1. Fear of losing money. This is the most obvious and universal fear in trading. Nobody likes to lose, but the market doesn't care about what you like. It operates in probabilities, not guarantees. The problem isn't that losses happen. The problem is how traders respond to them. When you fear losing money, you hesitate to take valid trades. You close winners too early. You avoid pulling the trigger. You second-guess your setup, even when it matches your rules. This fear is rooted in the belief that losses are bad. But in trading, losses are inevitable. They're not personal. They're not a failure. They're just part of the game. To overcome this fear, you must fully accept the risk before you enter a trade. That means knowing how much you're willing to lose, why you're taking the trade, that the outcome doesn't define you. Once you accept losses as a cost of doing business, you stop fearing them. And when that fear disappears, your decision-making becomes sharp, clean, and consistent. Point 2. Fear of being wrong. This fear goes deeper than money. It hits your identity. For many traders, being wrong feels like personal failure. It hurts their ego. It challenges their sense of intelligence and competence. And so, instead of cutting a losing trade, they hold on. They move stops. They add to losers. Why? Because admitting they were wrong is more painful than the financial loss itself. But here's the truth. Being wrong is not a problem in trading. Staying wrong is. In fact, professional traders are wrong often. Some only win 40% of the time and still make money because they cut losses and let winners run. They don't need to be right. They need to be disciplined. To overcome the fear of being wrong, you must shift your mindset. Stop seeing trades as a measure of your worth. Start seeing them as data points in a long-term game. Each trade is just one in a series of thousands. If you're following your process, right and wrong don't matter. Consistency matters. Point 3. Fear of missing out. FOMO. This fear is the fuel behind impulsive entries and overtrading. It's the voice in your head that says, this trade is running, and you're not in it. You're going to miss out. It convinces you to abandon your plan, chase price, and jump into setups you didn't prepare for. The result? You buy tops. You enter late. You get shaken out easily. And eventually, you lose control. FOMO is driven by scarcity thinking. It's the belief that this trade is the one. That if you miss it, you've missed your chance. But the market is infinite. Opportunities come every day. You don't need every trade. You need the right trades. To conquer FOMO. Build a trading system you trust. Define your entry criteria. Set alerts. Let the market come to you. And remind yourself daily. There will always be another setup. Discipline is not about catching every move. It's about catching your moves. Point 4. Fear of letting a winner turn into a loser. You in profit. You're watching the trade go your way. But instead of managing it calmly, you panic. You ask yourself, what if it turns around? You start to doubt. You fear losing the profit you've already made. And so, you exit too early. This fear is deceptive. It feels like you're protecting your gains. But in reality, you're sabotaging your long-term edge. Professional trading is about letting winners run. It's about holding when your plan says to hold, not when your emotions say to run. Because that's how your risk-to-reward ratio stays in your favor. To break this fear, you need confidence in your system. You need rules for managing trades, when to trail stops, when to scale out, and when to exit. And most importantly, you need to stop equating unrealized profits with money in your pocket. The trade isn't over until it's closed. Focus on following the process, not securing a feeling of safety. Fear isn't the problem. Your response is you can't eliminate fear entirely. And you don't need to. Fear is a signal. It's your mind trying to protect you. But in trading, what feels safe emotionally is often dangerous financially. The key is not to suppress your fears, but to recognize them without reacting to them. When you feel fear arise, pause, breathe, ask, what is my plan? Follow your rules, not your emotions. With practice, those fears lose their grip. They become background noise, and you begin to trade from a place of clarity, structure, and power, mastering the mind behind the trade. Each of the four fears, losing money, being wrong, missing out, and giving back profits, are deeply rooted in the human psyche. They won't vanish overnight. But with discipline, structure, and self-awareness, you can neutralize their power. Trading isn't about becoming fearless. It's about becoming unshakable. When fear no longer controls you, your trading transforms. You stop acting from emotion. You start acting from purpose. You become consistent, stable, and calm, regardless of what the market does. And that is the mark of the disciplined trader. Chapter 5. The Discipline Framework. Thinking in probabilities. Ask any consistently profitable trader how they think about the market, and you'll hear a phrase repeated over and over again. Trading is a game of probabilities. Not certainty, not prediction, not control, probabilities. This one idea separates amateur traders from professionals. It's the mental shift that transforms chaos into clarity, fear into focus, and emotion into execution. If you internalize this concept, truly live by it, you begin to trade with discipline, not impulse. And this is where your framework begins, not with a new indicator, but with a new mindset. What it really means to think in probabilities. Let's break it down. Thinking in probabilities means you understand that no single trade matters more than the overall process. Losses are not failures. They're part of the statistical outcome. You don't need to know what the market will do next. You only need an edge that plays out over time. Imagine flipping a coin. Let's say it's a weighted coin that lands on heads 60% of the time. Now, if you flip it 10 times, can you predict each individual outcome? No, it's random. You might get 3 heads, or you might get 8. But flip that coin 1,000 times, and you'll start to see the edge show up. Around 600 heads and 400 tails. That's how a professional trader thinks. Each trade is a coin toss with an edge. The outcome of any single toss doesn't matter. What matters is following the process long enough for the probabilities to play out. Why most traders struggle with this concept? Most traders operate from a need for certainty. They want to know that a trade will work. They want confirmation, reassurance, and emotional security, but the market offers none of that. It doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't behave consistently from moment to moment. It can't be controlled, only navigated. When traders seek certainty, they fall into destructive habits, overanalyzing before entry, hesitating, and missing opportunities, avoiding trades after losses, abandoning strategies after a few failures, all because they're thinking in terms of being right rather than managing risk. Trading discipline begins when you stop needing to be right and start trusting your edge. Building your probability-based framework. So how do you actually build this into your trading behavior? Here are the 5 foundational steps. 1. Define your edge. Your edge is what gives you a statistical advantage over time. It might be a chart pattern, a price level, a reaction to news, or a combination of conditions. But it must be repeatable, backtested, clear. If you can't define your edge in 1 or 2 sentences, you don't have one. An edge doesn't guarantee a win. It only increases your likelihood of success over many trades. Once you accept that, you stop judging each trade emotionally. You just follow the process. Point 2. Create rules and follow them religiously. Rules are what allow probabilities to manifest. No rules equals no consistency equals no edge. Your rules should define entry signals, exit strategy, stop-loss placement, position, sizing, trade frequency, market conditions. These are not suggestions. They are non-negotiables. Following your rules is what allows the law of large numbers to work in your favor. Point 3. Accept random distribution of results. Even with a perfect edge and flawless discipline, you will have losing trades. You might even have several in a row. This is not bad luck. It's not punishment. It's just random distribution. Here's the key. You don't know when your winners will show up. But if your edge is real, they will show up. If you keep executing consistently, that's why discipline is so important. It keeps you in the game long enough to reach your positive expectancy. Point 4. Detach emotionally from individual trades. Every trade is just a data point. It's not about this trade. It's about the next 100 trades. When you understand this, you stop overreacting to losses. You stop celebrating wins as if they're final. You simply stay consistent. The moment you stop needing each trade to work, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster. And that's when clarity emerges. Point 5. Track and review your results objectively. Numbers don't lie. Your trading journal is your mirror. It shows whether you're actually trading your edge or falling into old habits. Track every trade. Entry and exit points, reasons for taking the trade, emotional state, rule compliance. Over time, patterns will emerge. You'll see which behaviors serve you and which sabotage you. And this awareness fuels your growth. The true role of discipline. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's not about being robotic or unemotional. It's about trusting your process, even when it's uncomfortable. Discipline allows the probabilities to play out. It prevents you from interfering with your edge. It keeps you consistent through randomness. When you think in probabilities, you take trades without hesitation. You hold trades according to your rules. You stop trading emotionally. You stay grounded, win or lose, and eventually, you build something rare in this world: a calm, confident, consistent trading mindset. From random to reliable, most traders live in a state of confusion and inconsistency because they think the market must make sense. They expect predictable outcomes from an unpredictable system. But once you shift to thinking in probabilities, everything changes. You stop chasing certainty. You stop fearing losses. You start trading with discipline, and that discipline becomes your edge, not just in trading, but in life. Because the real secret is this: markets don't reward intelligence. They reward consistency. And consistency comes from one thing: thinking in probabilities every single time. Chapter 6. Rewiring beliefs. The subconscious battlefield. If you've ever asked yourself, why do I keep making the same mistakes even when I know better? The answer lies not in your trading system, your discipline, or even your experience. The answer lies beneath all of that, deep within your subconscious mind. Because at the core of every action you take, every decision you make, is something invisible: your belief system. Mark Douglas described trading as a psychological game, where your beliefs, not your knowledge, determine your results. And if you want to change your trading behavior, you must begin by changing your internal programming. This is the subconscious battlefield, the invisible scripts that run your trading. Your subconscious mind holds every belief you've developed since childhood. Many of them were formed long before you ever placed a trade. Beliefs about money, risk, success, failure, control, deservingness, self-worth, and whether you realize it or not. These beliefs are shaping every decision you make. In the market, you might consciously believe you want to be a disciplined, profitable trader. But if you subconsciously believe you don't deserve wealth, or that losing is shameful, or that risk is dangerous, then those hidden beliefs will override your best intentions. They will sabotage your trades. They will trigger fear, hesitation, revenge, or overconfidence. And until you bring them into the light, you'll keep repeating the same self-destructive patterns. Why awareness isn't enough. It's tempting to think that simply knowing your beliefs will change them. But that's rarely the case. The subconscious operates on emotion, repetition, and past experience, not logic. Think about it this way: if you've spent your entire life believing that money is hard to earn, success requires struggle, or people like me don't become wealthy, then even if your trading system is excellent, you'll unconsciously find ways to undermine it. You'll cut winners short. You'll take excessive risk. You'll break your own rules, not because you want to fail, but because your mind is programmed to keep you aligned with what feels familiar. And that's what makes this a battlefield. You are often fighting yourself. Common limiting beliefs that sabotage traders. Let's look at a few core beliefs that quietly destroy trading performance. Losing money means I failed. This belief turns every loss into a personal wound. It leads to fear of pulling the trigger and holding losers far too long. I need to be right to succeed. This belief makes you defensive and rigid. It prevents you from accepting losses and adapting to changing conditions. I'll never be successful at this. Deep down, this belief erodes confidence. Even when you're winning, it whispers doubt. And when you lose, it says, "See, I told you so. I must recover my losses now." This leads to revenge. Trading, one of the fastest ways to blow up your account. Trading is my only shot at freedom. This creates overwhelming pressure to win. And pressure breeds emotional trading. These beliefs aren't always obvious, but they leave fingerprints, inconsistent results, emotional exhaustion, self-sabotage. That's how you know they're active. How to rewire your beliefs. The good news is this: beliefs are not permanent. They can be reshaped. They can be reprogrammed. Here's how you begin the process. 1. Identify the limiting belief. Ask yourself, what thoughts run through my mind during losses? What emotions come up when I'm about to enter a trade? What do I believe about money, risk, and success? Write them down. Don't judge, just observe. Awareness is the first step toward transformation. Point 2. Question the belief. Every belief you hold is a conclusion based on past experiences, but it's not necessarily true. Ask yourself, is this belief always true? Where did I learn it? What has it cost me in trading? What new belief would serve me better? When you challenge a belief, you loosen its grip on your subconscious. Point 3. Install a new, empowering belief. Now replace the old belief with one that supports your goals. Examples. Losing trades are part of a winning system. I don't need to be right. I need to follow my plan. I deserve to succeed because I've done the work. I am calm, focused, and consistent under pressure. The key is repetition. Just like the old beliefs were installed through repeated exposure, new beliefs must be reinforced over and over until they feel natural. Point 4. Use visualization and affirmation. The subconscious mind responds powerfully to imagination. If you want to change your self-image, you must begin to see yourself as the disciplined trader you wish to become. Each day, take a few minutes to visualize, executing trades calmly, sticking to your rules without hesitation, walking away from the screen in control, accepting losses without emotion. Couple this with affirmations that reinforce your new beliefs, not in a hollow or wishful way, but with intention and presence. Over time, this reshapes the mental blueprint from which your trading behavior emerges. Rewiring takes time, but it works. You will not rewire your beliefs in a day, but you can change them if you stay consistent. Every time you catch yourself acting out of fear or impulse, pause. Notice the belief behind the emotion. Interrupt the pattern. Replace it with the new identity you're building. This process isn't glamorous. It's not exciting, but it's the real work. Because when you change the beliefs that drive your behavior, you don't just change your trading. You change your life. You become more grounded, more focused, more powerful, and you finally stop fighting the market because you've stopped fighting yourself. From inner chaos to inner clarity. Discipline is not just about rules and routines. It's about aligning your actions with your highest beliefs. And that begins within. You are not limited by your past. You are not defined by your mistakes. You are only as limited as the beliefs you refuse to examine. So examine them. Challenge them. Rebuild them. Because once you do, trading no longer feels like a battle. It becomes a process, a practice, a reflection of who you've chosen to become. And that is the path of the disciplined trader. Chapter 7. Rules-based trading. Trusting the process. The most dangerous place for a trader to operate from is not when they have no plan at all. It's when they have a plan but choose not to follow it. Every trader starts out with ambition. They may even develop a system, draw up rules, and convince themselves they'll be disciplined this time. But when pressure hits and emotions rise, many abandon the plan entirely, chasing price, second-guessing setups, and reacting instead of responding. This is where the gap appears, the gap between knowledge and behavior. Knowing what to do isn't enough. The power lies in doing it, repeatedly, consistently, without hesitation. And the only way to make that possible is through rules-based trading. Rules-based trading is what transforms a hopeful gambler into a strategic professional. It takes the guesswork out of your decisions. It removes emotional bias from your execution. And most importantly, it gives you a process you can trust. Let's explore what that means and how to build it. Why rules are your trading foundation. The market is chaotic by nature. Prices move unpredictably. News events hit without warning. Emotions fluctuate trade by trade. If you try to operate without structure in this environment, you'll get swallowed whole. That's why rules matter. Rules provide order in a world of chaos. They are your guardrails. They keep you from reacting impulsively. They anchor you in logic when the noise gets loud. Mark Douglas said it clearly. You don't need to know what's going to happen next in order to make money. You just need a consistent method of execution. That method is built from rules. The components of a rules-based system. A complete trading plan is not just about entries and exits. It's about preparing for everything that can happen in a trade. Here's what your system should include. 1. Entry criteria. What exact conditions must be met before you enter a trade? Is it a chart pattern? A moving average crossover? A reaction to a key level? Your entry should be black and white. No guessing, no gut feeling. 2. Stop loss placement. Where will you place your stop loss? Is it based on technical structure, volatility, or a percentage of your account? A rules-based trader defines this before entering a trade, not during. Point 3. Position sizing. How much will you risk on each trade? Is it a fixed amount or a percentage of capital? This rule prevents overexposure and helps regulate emotions. Point 4. Profit target or exit strategy. How and when will you exit your trade? Do you use fixed targets? Trailing stops? Price action cues. A professional does not guess when to get out. They follow predetermined exit logic. Point 5. Trade frequency. How many trades will you take per day or week? What is your maximum drawdown before pausing? Rules here help prevent overtrading and burnout. Point 6. Time of day or market conditions. Are there times or market environments you avoid? Do you trade only during high-volume sessions or trending markets? Know your edge and know when it doesn't apply. Why most traders break their rules. Even with rules in place, traders often break them. Why? Because emotion overrides logic. Fear causes hesitation. Greed leads to overtrading. Doubt overrides the plan. Impatience shortcuts the setup. This is why rules-based trading is not just a technical process, it's a mental practice. Following your rules consistently requires belief, trust, and discipline. You must trust your edge, even after a losing streak. You must trust your plan, even when others disagree. You must trust the process, even when the outcome is uncertain. Trusting the process. What it really means, trusting the process, doesn't mean every trade will work out. It means that you're following a process that works over time. It means you stop judging success based on individual trades. You let go of the need to control outcomes. You understand that the market is random, but your behavior doesn't have to be. When you trust your process, you reduce stress. You stop needing to be right. You start focusing on execution, not perfection. You're no longer obsessed with what the market is doing. You're obsessed with what you're doing in response. That's the mindset of the disciplined trader. Creating rules you can actually follow. Rules are only useful if you respect them. Here's how to make sure you do. 1. Keep it simple. Complex rules create confusion and second-guessing. Simplicity is clarity. The more straightforward your system, the easier it is to execute. Point 2. Test and believe in your edge. If you don't believe in your system, you won't follow it. Backtest it. Forward test it. Prove to yourself that it works. This builds confidence, and confidence fuels discipline. Point 3. Document everything. Use a trading journal to track why you took each trade, whether you followed your rules. Emotional state before and after. This turns every trade into a lesson. Over time, you build self-awareness and self-trust. Point 4. Treat trading like a business. Businesses follow systems. They don't act on emotion. They measure, adapt, and stay consistent. Your trading should be no different. The freedom within structure. There's a misconception that rules limit freedom. But in trading, it's the opposite. Rules create freedom. When you follow a system, you're no longer chained to your emotions. You're no longer dependent on luck. You're free from chaos, free from confusion, free from the pain of inconsistency. You finally get to experience trading the way it's meant to be. Calm, controlled, professional, and that's where the real transformation happens. From impulse to intention. Most traders fail not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't do it consistently. They live in reaction mode, pulled by price, driven by fear, chasing hope. That rules-based trading is how you take back control. It's how you move from randomness to rhythm, from stress to structure, from wishful thinking to reliable execution. This is the disciplined path. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting, but it works. And if you trust it long enough, it will reward you. Because the market is never consistent, but you can be. Chapter 8. Building the trader's mindset. The most successful traders in the world have different backgrounds. They use different systems. They trade different markets. But they all have one thing in common: a resilient, focused, and disciplined mindset. Not just a mindset that works when everything goes well, but one that holds steady when everything goes wrong. Because in trading, there will be drawdowns. There will be losing streaks. There will be doubt, confusion, and emotional pressure. Your mindset is your foundation. It determines how you respond under stress. It determines whether you stick to your plan or fall into impulse. And ultimately, it determines your success. Building the trader's mindset isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop. Let's explore how. What is the trader's mindset? At its core, the trader's mindset is a mental framework built on 5 core principles. Objectivity, seeing the market as it is, not as you want it to be. Discipline, following your rules, even when emotions scream otherwise. Resilience, bouncing back from losses without losing confidence. Confidence, trusting your system and your ability to execute it. Patience, waiting for the right opportunities instead of forcing trades. This mindset allows you to make consistent decisions in an inconsistent environment. It separates the emotional trader from the professional. It's what Mark Douglas called thinking like a trader. Why mindset outranks strategy too often. Traders obsess over finding the perfect system. They switch from one method to another, chasing performance, thinking their results are purely technical. But here's the truth. The best system in the world is useless in the hands of an undisciplined mind. You can give 2 traders the same strategy. One follows the rules with calm precision. The other breaks rules under pressure. Their results will be worlds apart. That's why mindset matters more than method. Because trading isn't just about analysis. It's about execution. And execution is 100% psychological. How to build the trader's mindset now? Let's break down. How to train your mind. Just like a professional trains their craft. Point 1. Embrace the process over the outcome. Most new traders are obsessed with winning. They measure success by the result of each trade. But this creates a roller coaster of emotion and destroys consistency. Professional traders think differently. They don't ask, did I win this trade? They ask, did I follow my process? When you shift your focus to process, you gain emotional stability. You stop needing every trade to win. You start trusting your system. You start acting consistently. That's the beginning of mental mastery. Point 2. Develop unshakable self-awareness. The most dangerous trader is the one who doesn't know what drives them. Are you trading out of boredom? Are you chasing losses to feel even? Are you over-leveraging because of ego? You can't fix what you won't face. That's why journaling is essential. After every trade, ask, what was I thinking? What was I feeling? Did I follow my plan? This turns trading into a mirror. And over time, that mirror reflects your deepest patterns and gives you the power to change them. Point 3. Manage expectations realistically. Many traders fail because their expectations are fantasy. They want to double their account every month. They expect to win most of their trades. They think one strategy will work in every market. When those expectations aren't met, frustration sets in. Frustration leads to emotional trading. Emotional trading leads to losses, and the cycle continues. Real traders know the truth. Some trades lose. Some months are flat. Progress takes time. This is a long game. And your mindset must reflect that reality. Point 4. Build emotional tolerance. Trading puts you in direct contact with 2 powerful emotions, fear and greed. To succeed, you must learn to feel these emotions without acting on them. That means letting a winning trade run, even when you want to lock in early, cutting a loser at your stop, even when you're tempted to hold, sitting on the sidelines, even when you feel FOMO rising. The trader's mindset is not about suppressing emotion. It's about observing it and choosing discipline anyway. Point 5. Establish daily mental habits. Just like athletes stretch and warm up before games, traders must prepare mentally for the markets. Your mindset needs daily maintenance. Here are 3 simple practices. Morning mental check-in. Start each session with clarity. Visualize yourself trading calmly. Review your rules. Remind yourself, I am here to follow my plan. Mid-session, reset. If you feel emotional intensity building, pause. Step away. Breathe. Recenter. Remember, the goal is consistency, not intensity. Evening review. After the session, journal your trades, emotional states, and lessons learned. Celebrate discipline, not just results. These habits train your brain to stay in trading mode. Over time, your emotional reactivity shrinks, and your mental stability grows. The identity shift. From trader to professional. The trader's mindset is not just a set of thoughts. it's a self-image. You begin to see yourself differently. You stop asking, how can I make money today? And start asking, how can I be consistent today? You stop chasing setups. You start preparing for them. You stop reacting emotionally. You start responding intentionally. This shift doesn't happen overnight. But with every journal entry, every disciplined execution, every moment of self-control, you reinforce a new identity. You are no longer just a trader. You are a professional. Mindset is a skill, and skills can be trained. You don't need to be born mentally strong to build the trader's mindset. You just need commitment, self-awareness, and repetition. Like any skill, the more you train it, the stronger it becomes. Eventually, the fear fades. The noise fades. The self-doubt fades. And what's left is clarity, focus, and quiet confidence. That's when trading becomes something more than a way to make money. It becomes a reflection of your growth, a mirror of your discipline, a path to mastery, not just of the markets, but of yourself. And that is the true mindset of a disciplined trader. Chapter 9. Practical Tools for Developing Discipline. Discipline is the backbone of every successful trader. It's what transforms knowledge into consistent action. But discipline is not an innate trait. It's a skill you build, nurture, and reinforce over time. This chapter will introduce you to the practical tools you need to develop discipline. Tools that help you control your emotions, stick to your rules, and stay consistent in the face of uncertainty. By incorporating these tools into your daily routine, you will strengthen your mental armor and become the disciplined trader you aspire to be. Point 1. Trading Journal. Your personal feedback loop. A trading journal is more than just a log of trades. It's your mirror, your coach, and your therapist, all in one. Why it matters. Without feedback, you're trading blind. You won't know if you're following your rules or repeating mistakes. What to track? Entry and exit points, trade rationale, why you took the trade, position size and risk, emotional state before, during, and after the trade, whether you followed your rules, outcome, and lessons learned, how it helps. Journaling creates awareness. Over time, patterns emerge, both good and bad. This insight allows you to adjust your behavior and reinforce discipline. Point 2. Pre-trade checklist. Setting yourself up for success before you enter any trade. Run through a simple checklist. Sample checklist items. Have I identified my edge? Is the market environment favorable? Have I set my stop loss and take profit levels? Am I risking an appropriate percentage of my account? Am I emotionally calm and focused? Do I have a clear plan for this trade? This checklist prevents impulsive decisions and helps you stay grounded in your process. Point 3. Position sizing. Controlling emotional risk. Position sizing is one of the most powerful tools for managing your emotions. Why it works? If you risk too much on any one trade, fear and greed overwhelm you. You become reactive, not disciplined. How to use it? Determine a fixed percentage of your account to risk per trade, often 1 to 2%. Calculate position size based on your stop-loss distance. Stick to this risk level consistently. By managing risk, you reduce emotional volatility, making it easier to follow your rules. Point 4. Mindfulness and emotional regulation techniques. Trading triggers intense emotions. Learning to observe and regulate these feelings is critical. Tools to practice. Mindful breathing. Deep, slow breaths calm your nervous system and reduce stress. Body scan. Notice tension areas in your body and consciously relax them. Grounding. Exercises. Use your senses to bring your attention back to the present moment. Emotional labeling. Name your feelings. I am feeling anxious, to create distance from them. Regular practice of these techniques helps you stay centered during volatile market conditions. Point 5. Setting realistic goals and expectations. Unrealistic goals fuel frustration and impulsive trading. How to set effective goals. Focus on process goals, e.g., follow my checklist every trade, rather than outcome goals. Make $10,000 this month. Set small, achievable milestones to build confidence. Review and adjust goals regularly based on your trading journal. This approach keeps you motivated and disciplined without becoming overwhelmed. Point 6. Using technology to your advantage. There are many tools and apps designed to support disciplined trading. Examples include trade journaling software that tracks your trades and emotions automatically, alert systems that notify you only when your criteria are met, automated order placement to reduce manual errors. visualization and meditation apps to support your mental training. Select tools that fit your style and integrate seamlessly with your routine. Point 7. Accountability partners and mentorship trading can be isolating. Having someone to share your journey with makes discipline easier. Benefits of accountability: encouragement during tough times, objective feedback on your behavior, motivation to stay on track, learning from others' experiences, whether it's a mentor, coach, or trading community. Find a support system that holds you accountable. Point 8. Creating a consistent routine. Discipline thrives in routine. Build habits around market preparation, news review, plan creation, trading hours, consistent start and stop times, post-session review and journaling, mental exercises, and physical self-care. A structured routine builds momentum and reduces decision fatigue. Point 9. Learning to accept losses gracefully. No trader wins every trade. Accepting losses without emotional upheaval is a cornerstone of discipline. How to cultivate acceptance: view losses as feedback, not failure. Stick to your stop-loss rules without hesitation. Avoid revenge trading. Reflect on what the trade taught you. Acceptance frees you from emotional cycles that undermine discipline. Point 10. Continuous education and reflection. Discipline is not static. It evolves with your experience. Commit to reading trading psychology and market strategy books, reflecting on your progress regularly, seeking new perspectives and methods, adapting your tools as you grow. This mindset of lifelong learning supports sustained discipline. The power of practical tools. Discipline is a muscle that grows stronger with consistent training. These practical tools are your workout plan. They help you build resilience, control, and consistency. Use them daily, and you will transform your trading from chaotic to confident. Chapter 10. Maintaining discipline under pressure. Pressure is the crucible in which every trader's discipline is truly tested. It's easy to follow your plan when the market is calm and everything is going your way. But when the stakes rise, when losses mount, emotions flare, and uncertainty reigns, discipline becomes much harder to maintain. This chapter is about the moments that matter most, about how to keep your edge when the pressure is on. Because maintaining discipline under pressure is not just a skill. It's what separates consistently successful traders from the rest. Understanding what pressure really is. Pressure in trading comes from many sources. Fear of losing money, the urge to recoup losses quickly, overwhelming market volatility, doubt about your strategy, external stressors in your life. Pressure activates your body's natural stress response. Your heart rate rises, breathing becomes shallow, and your mind narrows. You enter fight, flight, or freeze mode, the enemy of calm, rational decision-making. Recognizing this physiological and psychological reaction is the first step. Pressure isn't just in your head. It's your body's survival system, reacting to perceived danger. Why discipline cracks under pressure? When pressure hits, many traders react instinctively. They abandon their trading plan. They take impulsive trades. They overtrade or trade larger than planned. They hold on to losers hoping for a turnaround. They exit winners too early. These behaviors stem from emotional responses, not logic. Pressure triggers fear, greed, and impatience, emotions that overwhelm reason. The problem is that under pressure, your brain shifts from the prefrontal cortex, the thinking, planning part, to the amygdala, the emotional, reactive part. This hijacking leads to poor decisions. Strategies to maintain discipline when it matters most. The good news: you can train yourself to manage pressure effectively. Here are proven strategies. 1. Develop a pre-trade routine to calm the mind before every trade. Engage in a brief routine to center yourself. This might include deep, slow breaths to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, reviewing your trading checklist calmly and methodically, visualizing executing your trade plan without emotion. A consistent pre-trade routine primes your brain for disciplined action. Point 2. Break the trade into manageable steps. When facing pressure, the entire trade can feel overwhelming. Instead of seeing it as one big decision, break it down. Entry, stop, placement, position, sizing, exit plan. Focus on executing each step as a separate task. This reduces anxiety and keeps you grounded. Point 3. Use breathing and mindfulness techniques. During trading, if you feel stress rising mid-trade, pause and take deep, deliberate breaths. Notice physical tension and consciously release it. Bring your attention back to the present moment, what you can control right now. These techniques help interrupt the stress response and restore rational thinking. Point 4. Accept that losses and drawdowns are part of the process. One of the toughest pressures comes from losing trades and drawdowns. The temptation to win it all back is powerful but dangerous. Accept that losses are inevitable in any system with an edge. When you view losses as part of the long-term game rather than personal failure, pressure diminishes. Point 5. Have a post-trade routine to reflect and reset after every trade. Whether win or lose, take a moment to record your results and emotional state in your journal. Analyze whether you followed your rules. Release any lingering emotional charge by stepping away or practicing relaxation techniques. That a post-trade routine reinforces discipline and prevents emotional carryover, building mental resilience over time. Discipline under pressure is not developed overnight. It's built through consistent practice, reflection, and learning. Just like physical fitness, your mental resilience grows as you face challenges and recover from setbacks. Practical tips. For daily mental fitness, regularly review your trading journal to spot emotional patterns. Practice mindfulness meditation outside trading hours. Maintain physical health. Adequate sleep, nutrition, and exercise support mental clarity. Visualize handling stressful situations successfully. These habits build a strong foundation that supports discipline when it's needed most. Remember, pressure is an opportunity. Instead of fearing pressure, reframe it as a chance to prove your growth. Each stressful moment is an opportunity to practice discipline, strengthen your mindset, and become a better trader. When you consistently maintain discipline under pressure, you gain an unshakable edge that no market condition can take away. The disciplined traders promise to be disciplined under pressure means trusting your plan even when fear whispers otherwise. Staying calm when the market screams chaos. Acting with intention, not impulse. Committing to the process, not the outcome. This is the promise of the disciplined trader. It is hard. It is demanding. But it is the path to consistent success. Final chapter. From reactive to proactive. Becoming the disciplined trader. Trading is a journey, a path that challenges you at every turn. Many traders spend their careers stuck in reaction mode, responding to price swings, chasing losses, and battling emotions. But the most successful traders break free from this cycle. They move from being reactive to being proactive. This final chapter is about that transformation, about how you can step off the emotional roller coaster and step into the calm, confident role of the disciplined trader. What does it mean to be reactive? When you are reactive, the market controls you. Every price movement pulls at your emotions. You chase trades to avoid missing out. You double down to recover losses. You second-guess your plan and jump from system to system. Reaction feels urgent and exhausting. It's driven by fear, hope, and impulse. And it's the fastest way to erode your capital and confidence. The power of proactivity. Being proactive means you control your trading decisions, not the market or your emotions. It means you anticipate, plan, and act with intention. You don't wait for the market to tell you how to feel. You decide in advance how you will respond. Proactive traders have a clear edge because they follow a rules-based system without hesitation. They manage risk carefully and consistently. They detach emotionally from individual trades. They prepare mentally for challenges before they arrive. In essence, proactivity is discipline in action. Steps to move from reactive to proactive trading. 1. Build and trust your trading plan. Your plan is your roadmap. Develop a clear, tested set of rules covering entries, exits, risk management, and trade management. Then commit to following it, no matter what the market does. Trust in your plan reduces emotional reactivity because you know what to do next. It's your anchor in turbulent waters. Point 2. Develop self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Learn to recognize your emotional triggers. Pause before acting when fear, greed, or impatience arise. Ask yourself, am I trading because of a signal or because of an emotion? Am I following my rules? Emotional intelligence lets you create space between impulse and action, giving you power over your reactions. Point 3. Practice mindful preparation and reflection. Start each day with intention. Review your plan. Visualize disciplined execution and set realistic expectations. End each day with reflection, Journal your trades and emotions and learn from your experience. This cyclical practice reinforces proactive behavior. Point 4. Manage your environment. Create a trading space free of distractions. Limit exposure to noise, like social media or news that can provoke emotional responses. Surround yourself with supportive peers or mentors who encourage disciplined habits. That a calm environment supports a calm mind. Point 5. Embrace patience as a strength. Proactive trading requires patience, not just waiting for setups, but waiting through drawdowns without panic. Patience keeps you aligned with your process, allowing probabilities to work in your favor. Remember, the market rewards the patient, not the impulsive. The identity of the disciplined trader. Becoming proactive means adopting a new identity. You see yourself as a professional who values process over outcome, learns from mistakes without judgment, controls behavior regardless of external chaos, cultivates consistency through discipline. This identity becomes self-reinforcing. The more you act like a disciplined trader, the more it becomes who you are. The journey is ongoing. Discipline is not a destination. It's a lifelong practice. There will always be new challenges, new pressures, and new temptations to react. But with every choice you make to be proactive, you strengthen your edge. Your journey from reactive to proactive trader is a path of growth, mastery, and self-discovery. It's about becoming not just a better trader, but a better version of yourself. Closing thoughts. The market will never be perfect. You will never be perfect. But discipline bridges that gap. Discipline turns strategy into results. Discipline transforms chaos into opportunity. Discipline is the trader's true edge. So take what you've learned here and step forward confidently. Make discipline your foundation. Make proactivity your habit. And become the trader you were always meant to be.